Hey, I felt like making a video just for myself because I need that. Um, Not all of the other videos that I make, I'd say they're 50-50. I like to share things. I like to be of service, and I do get something out of it. It gets it off of my chest and it gets it out of my head, and I feel like I'm making use of something that I've been given, and that's the point. Um, and so that's great, right? But I am, I made a video about authenticity and what it means to me and transparency, and this is the real me, who I am and what I'm going through as a human being, as a person. Um, and and I need this too, just because it's like I'm in a place in my life right now where I don't connect with a whole lot of people anymore. I'm very grateful for my path. It's gotten me to be this. I'm very proud of who I am and what I've become. It doesn't, but it's been a bit of a journey translating that into a profession. To be like a person who is into, like, to me, everything is sacred. Everything is profound. It's all about relationships, and everything is pure, and everything is beautiful. And and I like that. But some of the people that I'm around, that's not the case. It is not, and it's certainly a challenge for me. As somebody who does a lot of personal work, who takes every opportunity to reflect, to really, look at and take on board and take these opportunities to grow, to face who you are and the way that you behave in certain situations, and to find that center, that grounding, that place of peace, that calmness that is there in meditation, but then out in the real world. And it's like, yeah, I guess it's tough when you do a lot of personal work, a lot of shadow work, as it's called sometimes, and there's just become such a difference between who I've become and who I was. And I don't know really anybody that does the kind of work on themselves like I do. And so there's just become such a distance between myself and other people, where it's like, even with people that I've known for my entire life, pretty much the only thing that we have in common is our past. We're just, I'll make this video later, but we're running different algorithms essentially, where it's a different operating system altogether. My buddy once said, he's like, I'm running like Linux or something like that. Very open source kind of like. Anyways, and that's certainly a challenge for me with work. This YouTube thing, I don't know what I need to do to make it take off. I just keep making videos. I focus on making quality content. I don't ever just, there is no such thing as clickbait. There is no misleading anything with me. It's not who I am. It's not what I'm about, and it's not something that I will ever do. And so with that too, with this whole YouTube thing, you realize what social media and that like YouTube is a platform, but then there's also all of these other things like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and others, I suppose. But like those ones, and they all are their own platforms. It's not like just making, you're not gonna just, at least in the beginning, they don't just like mesh seamlessly, and so you end up having to kind of like make content, specific content for the different platforms, or then like, or I don't even know, just because it's like you got to wrap your mind around these different platforms and how they work and how you want to put yourself out there, and that's a huge thing too. It's like I'm not gonna, it has to be, I have to stay true to myself, but also learn new skills. And getting better at the computer programs, the video editing, just refining a style, as well as this kind of stuff too. And then like I have so like this social media thing, and it's like it's a bit to wrap your mind around, and then do it, and then get on top of these things and manage them in a way that is respecting your own energy, and but also understanding that it's a thing. Facebook is a thing, so is Instagram, and so is YouTube, and just like how it all works and whatnot. And so that's a big deal. What else? I guess like the next thing is like I have this drive in me to be free right now. I'm in a process of becoming super minimal. I am getting rid of, selling, moving old things, old energy, getting rid of things that I don't use, that I don't need. Really minimalizing it. Then eventually I will get rid of most of my furniture, and I will just put a couple sticks in storage and my music gear somewhere else, and I'm going to hit the road, and I'm going to be free, and I'm not going to have to work, because I'm going to be living in my car, and I'm going to be making YouTube videos. I've done it before, and I'll do it again, sans YouTube videos, but this time that'll be a thing. And I pray to God that this thing starts to generate an income at some time. I'm going to give it my everything. I've taken courses, and I think that I fit the bill. It's just, they say it's a marathon, not a sprint. You just got to stick with it, and that's okay. But, and so, I struggle with my work and with friends, and just wrapping my mind around all this stuff. My living situation, because I feel like I work to store furniture. And it's part of it. It's part of an experience of, say, growing up, of just being alive, a human being here in Canada. It's like, me and everybody else, I get it, but I am who I am, and I'm working on that, and I desire ultimate freedom. I had it before. A few years ago, I was married years ago, and then we had a condo, and ended up selling it, and I got a little bit of money, and I took a few years. I was writing a book about spirituality, entitled Spirituality, and I intended to finish it, but I never went to school for this stuff, so I had a lot of lessons to learn about writing and editing and finishing books and book writing and that kind of stuff. So that kind of it didn't happen by the time a bunch of other things happened, and eventually these other things happened, and I eventually needed to get a job so that I could pay some bills. And so that was tough, tail between the legs, just going back to work. But I did it, and I've been doing it now for a couple years. But it's just like, I say this thing, it's like when I was not working, it's like being me is a full-time job. I don't have time to go to work, to do things, to get dirty, and to do other people's dirty work, things that, for the money that they pay me, which is not relative to how intelligent I am and how hard I work or how smart I work. So it's certainly been a challenge with work. I don't want to just jump ship because I think that I can persist, move through this obstacle, and then come summertime be able to take a sort of a leave of absence and see what I can do on hit the road for a bit. And it's tough too with COVID because you can't head to say like Latin America, Mexico, that kind of thing. I don't know what's going to happen in the winter, but that's not a concern of mine, because it's like with that one, it's kind of like a love life thing. It is something that I trust in the way that my life unfolds. I surrender to that, whatever that intelligence is in the universe, in the cosmos, which organizes things. It has certainly been my experience through life that I am taken care of. And so it's not something I read in a book. It's something that I've lived, and it's beautiful when you get into the flow, and when your life just is like an explosion of synchronicity. It's just one thing after another, and I do experience that in my life right now because of the way that I live it. Although sometimes it kind of comes and it goes. Although, as I understand it, it's all synchronicity. It's just we usually define synchronicities as like the things that we want to happen as opposed to things that prevent, but it's all synchronicity. And so, getting back to the book writing, I wanted to just write a book so that I could communicate my entire understanding indefinitely without ever having to speak a single word. You could just hand it to somebody, and I don't have to regurgitate things, but I had to learn lessons about where to stop with writing a book, because it's like when you have kind of inspirations, when you receive things and like have revelations every day, it's like add, and it's like, no, you got to stop adding or it's never going to end, because life doesn't keep, you just keep getting these things and it can't be notes. So then that's where this YouTube thing came from, because it's this like 100 pages of notes and ideas later. It's like everything is essentially a YouTube video. And that's why I was like, okay, I can do this, because I have never ending ideas. And I have like years of I got thousands of ideas for YouTube videos, like literally. And so that's a thing. Another thing for me is music. In my heart, I just want to make music. I mean, I do like the philosophy and the psychology and the spirituality. That's what I'm about, right? I can step away from it for a very short period of time. I live and breathe it, though. It's just who I am. It's not like, I don't do it for anybody else. I do it for me. It fascinates me. Like right now, I am learning about Breatharianism, and they're basically the next video that I release will be about this subject, but it has gripped me because I've had experiences in life where, like for instance, right now I only sleep a couple hours a night and I have abundant energy, and I've come through with diet, healed from all kinds of things, and like eat very little, and it's like I'm on this path. I don't find it fascinating. It is my experience. And so they say it's like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I was like ready, and then this guy showed up, and I've been studying this material for some time. And so because it's one of these things that fascinates me, I'm about ready to share a little bit of something that I know to hopefully, I don't know, maybe bring a little bit of clarity or perspective to the subject, because actually I'm not going to go into it right now because I could. But so there's that. Music is a thing though. I just want to make music. I have songs that come to me all the time. I have endeavored, I'm going to release I have like a few videos planned, and then I'm going to release a music video. But like, it's a lot music. For myself, I only picked it up a few years ago, and the first time I ever touched an analog synthesizer. I'm a big fan of Moog synthesizers, and so just learning subtractive synthesis is a thing. And then I have other synthesizers, and then just learning how they work, because they're very complex. And then DJing is a thing too, and then music production. So that's like, for me, learning how to use the machine software and hardware, and then learning how to use Ableton because you need a proper DAW, and then learning guitar and learning how to play piano. And I have a handpan, which is my baby, and just learning playing that and practicing it and new techniques, because I'm not trained as a drummer. But it's like it's a thing to touch, and then I recently got it's by Moog. It's called the Clairvox Centennial. It is a theremin, like the 100-year anniversary of the theremin. And so I got this thing, and it's an instrument that you don't touch with your hands. It's like it works because everything is putting off like an electromagnetic kind of field and this and that, and it's like the density of things, and like it's like just another instrument that I couldn't live without. But and then all this stuff weighs on me that it takes a bit to like get involved, or to set the time aside to learn all of these instruments and these techniques, and then put it together with songs and whatnot. So that's like that's a tough one for me, is the music. But all you can do is just like this YouTube thing. You decide you want to do it, and then you take baby steps. Like, I know that I had a first video, and I was sitting around here in a chair, and I was getting ready to go to work, and I was like, I gotta do this or I'm going to explode. So I did. And here I am now, and it's a little bit different. I'm able to just kind of freestyle these things. I don't edit so much, because it's like, yeah, right, you're here because you enjoy my energy, not because I edit things so that it like takes all the humanness out of it. So that's a thing. And like, so with the whole traveling thing, Spanish is a thing. I am a student of Spanish, and I learn in my own way, and it is my own way. It takes time, and I've learned how. I've been studying Spanish for years. I've been in immersion schools in Guatemala, and I've been study. and I go every week, but it's like finding time with it all and to practice, and it's like I know I'm doing well and picking it up, but with the rest of life, it's just another one of those things which requires your constant attention to keep it fresh and to keep learning and whatnot. So that's pretty big. Another one is diet. I am a never-ending evolving diet person. I have gone through all of them, as you might guess from some of my other videos. Not all of them, but a lot. 20 years of dietary reform. And I was certainly addressing that a bit more in my breatharian video, but where I'm at right now. But I guess, and that's where those two things are tied. So it's like I'm doing all right. I'm actually really happy with where my diet is right now. Yeah. And then yoga is another thing. I've studied yoga with a school for the last year of my life. It's about meditation, and then hatha yoga as well. And I kind of just graduated from my yoga school to the next level. And so practicing new techniques is it's all a bit, all the whole way. It's a bit to wrap your mind around the language you have to get past, and you have to find your way within the teaching. And for a person like me, I have I can be, I don't know, argumentative or challenging, or I listen to my intuition. And so anyways, you got to find your way with it. And you also got to recognize that why you set out on this path is to learn and to humble yourself. It's like, okay, relax, and then when you get past it, then you look back, and then it's like, aha. Especially with this other stuff that I'm learning right now, it's like I'm starting to see more of what was hard for me to see with the yoga stuff, as I have it put into other words by other teachers. And so that's like, it's a big thing. But, ultimately very grateful for this, this path, this experience, and just, I hope, that was the thing. So that was basically it. I needed to say this because I just don't have anybody in my life where I can talk to like this, in this way, like I need to. And that's okay, because I have this. So to accept that and embrace it, and I don't know, not to move on and not take it personal, but just to be grateful for it. And so, at the end of this, I just wanted to share a poem that I wrote. So when I sold my condo, it was rough, because I became a nomad at that point, essentially. Nomad, vagabond, call me what you will. But with a plan, and, driven by heart and soul, and a dream. I am a person who chases his dream, because I would die on the inside if I did not. So that's it's a funny thing with me. It's constant change is stability for me. When things remain the same for too long, it's like stagnation, and this doesn't work with me. And I don't know I wonder, it's like, is that healthy? Or it's just like, you know what? I don't need to know. I don't care. It'll sort itself out. And that's the thing about getting out of your head. And the ego is just like this desire to understand and to need to know and to, plan and all that kind of stuff. Go away. Out. And so there's this poem that I wrote because it was like after my marriage, and I was so upset after the divorce. And then 5 years later, I sold the place and then just got rid of most of my stuff. I got on a plane. I flew to Mexico City and I headed for a place called Barra de Navidad. And this is a place where my family has gone for many years. And so I got there, I checked into a hotel, and I went to the beach, and I collapsed on the floor, or on the. I just fell, and I wept for I don't know how long. And I wrote a poem, and so it's and it goes something like this. And it's taken me years to finish it. I don't even know if it's finished, but like this is it, and it's now. So it's watching waves come rolling in like oscillations of my life reminds me of where I've been. It echoes to me day and night, or what it took for me to get to the place where I sit now. Time will not let me forget. The purpose was to show me how. I've been hurt, and yes, I've hurt others as well. I've been afraid. The thought of tears begin to swell. I've been betrayed. Too many times betrayed myself, yet every time I earned what cannot be bought with wealth. Now, there were times, I must admit, when I fell far beyond the reaches, where I hoped these waves of despair would take me away from all that life teaches, until I found a string of words that helped to get me through the night, and I was able to pick myself back up again to continue with what I know is right. And so I give you this brief testament to share a few things I've been through, because sometimes it helps to relate to things that others have experienced too. And I pray that when it's hard, you find solace in the words of someone reaching out, a voice needing to be heard. And if the time comes, perhaps you too can lend a hand or some words to someone who needs it, which can help them understand that in this everlasting ocean, and where we do just what we can. Sometimes we hope, sometimes we pray, and sometimes it's just teardrops in the sand.